Let's begin talking about the new aging enterprise called the silver industry, although it's not quite as new as it once was, but it's still fairly new. If you ask many people about the silver industries, they'll start talking about jewelry. And what we're going to have today in this lecture is some learning objectives. I want to, at the end of this lecture, be able to understand and define the concept of silver industries and begin to see a few more areas of innovation from around the world. This lecture is for you to have prior to reading the articles on the silver industry for this week. So here is a basic definition of silver industries. It's simple, it's easy to read, it's easy to tell. It's less than that 2-minute elevator speech that you give. It's businesses that create, produce, market, and sell goods and services to older adults. They can be new, they can be old, they can be modified products and services. Think about a pair of scissors that are hard to use, and then once they're redesigned for, say, an arthritic hand, that would be a silver industry or a silver product. Kohlbacher was and remains, I believe, the up-and-coming individual in silver industries and the author or the editor of the text, the primary text from which we're pulling many of the articles. He has defined silver industries a bit more carefully. And he has 4 innovative strategies for the silver market in developing and marketing, especially for elders. He's German, so he uses the word elders. And he says you need to adapt. You can adapt products and services. You need to have ageless or age-neutral products and services. They can be for older adults, but they also attract younger customers. Now think about that, because it's very important to think about your market. If you only are targeting older adults, that's great because, for example, the baby boomers, are 25% of our population. That's a huge percent of the population. I mean, imagine if you made a dime off of 76 million people, you'd be doing pretty well, right? But if you were able to attract another 76 million younger people, you'd be doing doubly well. So if you create something that's ageless or age neutral, you are really doing having a great strategy. And then if you develop and market a transgenerational or universal design solution, such as OXO, then perhaps you're reaching 99% of the population. And those are very innovative because the traditional marketing and product development or design has been to hit only segments, niche markets, just small markets. So these are quite innovative. Why the silver industries? Well, because it is a large population. The boomers alone are 25%. Add on older adults, adds another 10%. Older entrepreneurs get into the silver industries and they are very successful. Why? They know the market. They know what other older people want. They know what they want, how they want to be treated. Older adults, believe it or not, and we keep saying this over and over, they have disposable income. No, not all of them. That's true. But not all young people, not all middle-aged people have tons of disposable income. But older adults have, on average, disposable income. the economy. Well, the economy for the past 8 years has been going up and down, in and out. And we'll just have to watch it. But at that time, this was written, and he was writing this. The economy was good. Still, we'll have to watch the economy, and people still need products and goods and services, so they will spend their money. And there is a decreasing young workforce as once the economy gets growing again, and all the new growth in the economy requires more workers. They will want workers of all ages, and that will create industries and products to adapt for an aging workforce, because older adults can be just as productive when products are designed to keep them productive. How did this come about? It's really quite strange, and you probably read about it in your intro chapter, how the Respect for the Elderly Day in Japan in 1973, the railway just decided to set aside some seats for those silver-haired seniors and the disabled. And from that has come the seats for the disabled and those parking spots for the disabled. And here we now have products for older adults. So that's a little bit of history, and when you think about it, it's quite amazing, isn't it, that this whole movement began. A bit of an aside, my stepdaughters lived in Japan for 11, 12 years now, and when you get ready for the trains in the morning, you queue up in a straight line to get on to the train. It's not like when you get on the metro or something in DC or Seattle or Atlanta, you just kind of bunch around the doors. You queue up behind a line, and she says now the silver-haired seniors will come up to the front of the line and push you out because they want to be the first in line, and no one will push back, which is logical. Here's an early citation from Japan recognizing the ability of the older adults to have a impact on the economic condition of Japan. And as you read this, let me tell you that in Japan there was a problem because the older adults were not spending their money at all. And they needed and they pushed to have products and services that would cater to the tastes and the needs of the older adults, because they wanted those older adults to begin spending that money that was sitting in the banks and doing really basically not much good. And so they began encouraging older adults to spend their money by encouraging businesses to develop products. About 10 years ago, or 8 years ago, as a matter of fact, on the doll holiday, dolls are a big thing in Japan. They developed a doll that was attractive to older women, to try to get the older women to purchase this doll. Here's a colleague of mine, a great friend and colleague, Dr. Greg O'Neill. He is the one who has taken up the mantle of My Aging is Good Business to Aging Means Business. And he has really pushed forward, and he recognizes that the new silver industries are not just going to be in home care and long-term care and building continuing care retirement communities, that they're going to go into other forms of housing and products to make us attractive in entertainment and travel. And Bob Moose, quoted in the Gerontologist, said that gerontologists will be in demand as the older population grows. So where should we think to dig for our silver? Well, we need to think about how lives can be improved, and autonomy. Autonomy is important. As we were young, we wanted our driver's license. That gave us our first real form of autonomy. We could get in that car, we could drive away from our parents, and for a little while, we were free. As we become older and older, we get in our 70s, maybe our 80s, we start worrying about losing that autonomy. We want to think about how our lives can be improved to keep us living independently. Those are important. We want to be active. We want to have fun, regardless of our ages, right? We want to be healthy. We want to be safe. We want to travel. We want all the things, regardless of what age we are. And that's what's important when one looks at the silver market. And when one is being marketed to, they don't necessarily want to be pointed out that they are old. Products need to be pretty easy to use. I have cursed since the time they came, those child-proof prescription bottles. I'm very happy that no one in our family needs to have a prescription. Very thankful for that. Other things are lifelong learning, cars, whatever. And technologies. Hey, technologies, nano, robotics, design, all sorts of things. I mean, robotics, they are so interesting. Think about it. We now have vacuum cleaners, finally. When I was a kid, the Parade magazine in your newspaper said by the time I was, 1970, we'd have robots that cleaned our houses totally and all these things. Well, I'm still waiting for that. Here's an example of marketing, and this darn ad still is out there. Help! I've fallen. I can't get up. That is such an ad that I think anyone of any age finds offensive, and the jokes continue about it. That is absolutely the opposite of what we are aiming for and what you are aiming for. So let's look at a few examples, and I'm going to always be piling examples on you. Here is, I hope I can pronounce it, Memora, the custodian hotline. Okay, what is this thing? This is from Japan. There are over 30,000 centenarians in Japan. That's a lot of people who are 100 or older. And many of these individuals die because no one knows that they have a problem, and so they die and no one finds them for a while. But there's one thing that happens every day in Japan. They make their tea. People have their tea. And so here came a great idea. It's the hotline, and it's added to the iPod. So you make your tea in this electric kettle that is used for heating water, and it has a big button that you push. And if the button is used to make tea, an email is sent to the family members, and it says everything is fine when you push the button to make your tea. I mean, is that not awesome? Seriously. Every time, boom, push the button, email sent, everything is fine. It is just amazing. I think it's a great, great tool. And what is so great about it is it's so simple that no one needs to know that they're being watched. I mean, the person knows when they get the tea kettle, but it's not like someone's there watching you all the time. It's just super. This is an interesting concept. Sugamo Street in Japan, the Avenue for Senior Culture. Again, In other cultures, they use the word senior because it is a sign of respect. In the United States, older adults do not like the word senior very much, trust me. As a matter of fact, in the United States, many senior centers are being renamed. So what is this street in Japan? It is a street that's been remade into the old traditional market from before World War II. It's small, it's only 26 feet in width and 853 yards in length, so that's what? How many football fields? And it has approximately 200 stores. About 20,000 older adults visit from all parts of the country daily. What's so special about this street? Well, traditional music is played in the background to have that nostalgia feeling come. The vendors are in traditional clothing. It's got this narrow pathway. It's messy the way these merchants display. And it has new attractions, and it has the goods in there that are sometimes old goods or new goods. But what it does is it's the goods are put in the old way, in the old booths, piled up. And the preservation of the old street is that's inherited from the Edo period, from the old period. It has signs that are not in English, they're in the old language. And it brings back the feelings of the old times and the comfortable times. And it's very popular. In Japan, South Korea, one of the favorite hobbies is hiking. And it's a favorite thing to do, and hiking in the mountains for many people. I love hiking. So what has been designed is a radio for use when hiking in the mountains so that you can be connected to a nearest station, radio station, to send an alert if you have problems. And these have been increasingly popular and used for people of all ages, but especially if you have an older adult. It's pretty simple, easy to wear, and small. And this is something that is an example of an ageless product. People love their cell phones, but sometimes people have problems with their cell phones. And so cell phones have been designed to be simpler. These are examples of 3 cell phones that were designed in Japan. They were the first to come out with the simpler cell phones for older adults, and were quite a big hit. We have replicated them now in the United States. This is an example of age simulation from a university in South Korea, a colleague of mine, Dr. Park's school on silver industries. What is here is not a product, but I wanted to show this to you. And the students put on these suits that are weighted, glasses that have different lenses that show different eye issues. And by using these suits, they get the feeling of what it is like to have a bad knee or arthritis or a certain vision problem before they begin going into their classes and work on designing products for specific issues that an individual may have. These suits are really quite difficult to wear. They're heavy, they're hard. Oh my gosh, it was not fun, I'll tell you. And here, in this last picture, these are from England, although I've seen these playgrounds in South Korea. Unfortunately, we didn't get to stop and play, and sometime I keep saying, I want to go play on one of these playgrounds. These are playgrounds designed for older adults, And my goodness sakes, I would love to go play in one of these playgrounds. I think it would be a lot of fun because, I mean, why should the kids have all the fun? So these are playgrounds that have been designed for older adults. There'll be more examples of products, services, ideas for older adults. These are just a few to get you moving along the way as you continue your adventure in the silver industries. So what ideas do you have? One thing I want to challenge you and ask you is, about 10 years or so ago, there was a product that hit the market. It won the Mary Furlong Boomer Design Product Award. And it was so hot they wouldn't even say what it was at that time in March. But they said, when it comes out, you'll know it because it's such a great product. It is ageless. It is intergenerational. It is everywhere. People have it. People love it. It's a silver industry, but people don't think it is. People love it. Families use it. Grandparents use it with their grandchildren. Do you have any idea what it is? If you do, let me know. I'll tell you next week, okay? Have a good week.